Hey, tonight is a big night for me, okay? This is a huge deal. I am wearing my favorite sneakers tonight. Boom! White cement, Air Jordan 3s, baby. If you know, you know, okay? Real talk, sneakers are the one subject I am actually qualified to talk about. On this show, I have talked about nerd shit, oil subsidies, antitrust laws, the Modesto nuts. Do you know how many crazy smart researchers I need to sound like I know what I'm talking about? The past few shows have just been elaborate deepfakes, but with Jordans, it's in my DNA, man. I know people think Jordans are corny or pointless, but for my generation, having a pair of J's was a statement piece. It gave me confidence. For 150 bucks, you could be like Mike. It was every kid's dream. I saw Jordan win championships in these, 6. I saw Jay-Z perform to sold-out crowds in these, all things I could never do. But if I grinded it out at Safeway long enough, and if I could beat the lines, I could get a pair. This is true. 2001, my sophomore year of high school, at the Florin Mall in Sacramento, there was a riot at Foot Locker for Jordan 11s, and I was there, baby. I lined up at 5 a.m., and I saw a guy get robbed in the parking lot in front of his kids, and I was like, oh, shit. I'm a sophomore in high school with a mustache. I'm not about that life. I'm not built for this. But look, man, even though I'm 33 years old and I have a baby who needs to go to college, I can't quit the game. Do you have any idea what hip-hop culture means to Indians? Next time you meet any Indian dude named Kabir, ask them to rap Forgot About Dre. They will do it right 100% of the time, and they will still use the N-word. You're like, yo, Kabir, don't use the N-word, man. He's like, whatever, the windows are rolled up, it doesn't matter. That's why tonight I want to talk about a big part of hip-hop culture, streetwear. And Air Jordans are a part of streetwear, but streetwear is so much bigger than just sneakers.
The biggest trend in fashion right now, it's really a movement, is streetwear.
I am gonna go try some of this stuff on for myself. What do you think? Am I hype enough?
No, streetwear is a fashion movement based around surfing, skating, hip-hop, and covering Jonah Hill's body. 85% of all streetwear has been worn at some point by Jonah Hill. Every day, Jonah Hill dresses like he's at a job interview with Limp Bizkit. Streetwear brands are everywhere. They've even broken into high fashion, but there's one streetwear brand that has taken over, Supreme. And if you've never heard of it, you probably work at CNBC.
It's called Supreme, and maybe I'm just old, Michael, but this is the first I'd ever heard of this chain.
Supreme is the hottest brand in the United States right now.
That's right. That's right.
Gosh, I feel old. I don't know. Supreme, I've never heard of.
Yeah.
Supreme is a cultural phenomenon built on hype. And if you don't know what hype is kind of a big excitement that has a deep emptiness at its core. Like New Year's Eve or the Democratic Party. Look, I know the Dems exceeded expectations, but 2020, I don't know. Supreme has so much hype, it's rocked by musicians, actors, even famous philosophers. Even though it only has 11 stores worldwide, Supreme is worth $1 billion, and it all boils down to one thing, the iconic box logo, which Supreme slaps on everything. The logo has so much cachet, people even stamp it on themselves.
Cleveland Cavaliers' J.R. Smith posted to Instagram this photo showing a fresh tattoo on the back of his leg.
Oh my God, that is not even the dumbest thing J.R. Smith has done. That tattoo should have said, look at the scoreboard. It's tied. On the other cap, it should have said, hey, if you score right now, LeBron won't leave. Have you seen the lines outside Supreme stores? They're ridiculous.
All these people here are gonna try and cop a box logo hoodie, man. Like, good luck to that, man. No, look how mad this is, fam. All of that, yeah, is trying to catch one, man. That's crazy.
That bloke is right. People will do anything to catch one. Look at those lines. It's like Harry Potter in the 2000s, or Star Wars in the 80s, or Bread in the 30s. Yo, 1930? Great Depression? Bread was like the original hype item. Like, yo, is that rye bread? Oh shit, son. He's got pumpernickel. Who's your connect? Oh man, I can't say anything. I can't, all right? This is all because of Supreme's drop culture. A drop is when Supreme releases a limited amount of product online and in store, and when it's gone, it's over. It's the opposite of Amazon. Supreme is actually inconvenient. It's like if you got sent an Evite And then you open up the Evite and it tells you to RSVP by mail. You'd be like, screw your wedding, Julie. Because Supreme drops sell out immediately, people have to buy it on secondary markets, and Supreme items become even more expensive on the resale market. Resellers call this the Supremium. The Supreme North Face jacket, retail, $300. Flipped for more than $1,600. That's a return of 463%. And the Supremium applies to truly random shit. Supreme sells a branded crowbar, retail, $32. Resale, $360. Supreme bolt cutters, retail $48, resale $222. And if you're not mad yet, parents, this is a Supreme brick. Retail $30, resale $150. Can you imagine immigrant kids asking your dad? Like, Dad, can I have $150? Oh, why, beta? Oh, I want a brick. Son, you have never lifted anything in your life, and now you want a brick? Why can't you just do drugs? Like a normal kid. One of the biggest Supreme resale markets is a website called StockX. According to the CEO, resellers on StockX move about $3 million worth of Supreme merch every week. That's over $150 million a year in resale business for one brand on one site. Supreme is this insane cultural force, but it started off as one skate shop in New York City founded by a guy named James Jebbia. Before Jebbia became the arbiter of cool, he was a child actor on British TV.
Where's your half crown?
A half crown? What for?
My football.
I'll buy it.
Oh, no, you won't. 30 francs.
Where's your half crown, William Brown?
Where's yours?
Where's yours? Look at him. That little Boy Scout, who looks like he just colonized a Build-A-Bear workshop, now owns the hottest streetwear brand in the world. Do you understand how crazy that is? It'd be like, remember that little boy from Matilda who was eating chocolate cake? He invented Snapchat. You're like, oh, fuck. In 1994, when he first opened the Supreme shop, he noticed something interesting happening in skate culture. Skaters were mixing brands like Levi's and Carhartt with Gucci and Louis Vuitton. Gucci's and Louis V are luxury brands. Carhartt and Levi's are not. These labels are from two totally different worlds. When you see them together, it's kind of jarring. It'd be like turning on the TV and then finding out the new Bachelor was Bashar al-Assad. Oddly, he would be the second cruelest bachelor. God damn it, Ari, just leave Becca alone. Give her her space. By the way, do you guys know Bashar al-Assad was an ophthalmologist? How do you go from ophthalmologist to dictator? I have friends who are ophthalmologists. They'd be like, yo, you remember Arjun? The eye doctor? Dude, he's a dictator now. Wait. Arjun has chemical weapons? Wait, can I still like the photos of his dogs? Okay, look, I'm getting sidetracked, sorry. For Supreme, the Gucci Carhartt epiphany was a critical moment for Jebbia. He realized that people who were into hip hop and skate culture were willing to pay for high-end brands, so he started mashing up skate clothes in high fashion.
The logo was remixed with other artists, including Jackson Pollock, and popular brands such as Coca-Cola, Gucci, Burberry, and Louis Vuitton. This process of lifting or appropriating others' work has been a fixture of street culture since the early days.
That girl was definitely scrolling through IG while doing that voiceover. Just, I'm so excited. Supreme is one of the hottest brands in the world. Hype beasts around the world line up for days. Oh my God, click, cool. Oh, you're recording me? Here's what she was trying to say. Supreme levels up hype through collaborations. They're like Rogue and X-Men. They go, hey, are you cool? Think of them like the Calvin Harris of the fashion industry. Supreme is the king of appropriation. They wouldn't exist without it. Even the logo itself was jacked from an artist named Barbara Kruger. You see the similarities? By the way, if you're gonna steal someone's idea, do what I did in high school, change the font, and mess with the margins a little. This is just insulting. Supreme even admitted in a lawsuit that Kruger's work influenced the creation of its logo. That's the most corporate shit ever. They used anti-consumerist art to sell shit to consumers. That's like opening a restaurant called Gandhi's All-You-Can-Eat Buffet. Gandhi's, when hunger strikes. Also, we don't serve South Africans. It's a fun fact. Look it up, fun fact. Supreme has grown so fast and gotten so much hype, it's now a huge target for counterfeiters. Fake Supreme is popping up around the world. In China, counterfeiters even staged a fake Supreme event and hired a fake James Jebbia. They just missed one small detail. Here's the real James Jebbia accepting an award from Trevor Noah. Now here's the fake James Jebbia accepting an award. This video is why I love China. They rip off the logo, they make flawless knockoffs, and then they're like, you know who should play James Jebbia? A Nigerian actor. You know the most amazing part? That Chinese guy is playing Trevor Noah. With all these imitators popping up, Supreme has been cracking down on people who appropriate their logo. This blows my mind. The company that made an empire out of lifting other people's work is suing when it happens to them. Supreme has no sense of irony, but you know who does? Barbara Kruger, whose art inspired the original logo. When she was asked to comment on a Supreme lawsuit, she trolled them in the best way. She sent a blank email with a single attachment that said, "What a ridiculous clusterfuck of totally uncool jokers." That is the best response ever. People should just start using it. Imagine it. When asked for comment on the Senate Judiciary Committee's confirmation hearings, Justice Ruth Bader Ginsburg responded, "What a ridiculous clusterfuck of totally uncool jokers." It makes sense, by the way, why Supreme is suing people. It seems like Supreme's whole business model is built on hype. So I wanted to know, what's the real value of hype? Is it sustainable? And what's the long-term play for Supreme? To find out, I sat down with Matt Powell, a world-renowned expert on the economics of streetwear and sneaker culture, which I could not believe that is an actual occupation you could put on LinkedIn. So you're known as the sneaker expert.
That's right, sneakerologist.
You look like one of my dad's friends from work.
Exactly. Generic old man.
You're like the Nintendo Wii character that starts with old white man.
I am.
And you're the sneaker expert?
This is what I do.
This pisses me off, okay? This dude, this man, works with every major brand, Nike, Adidas, Puma, and is paid tons of money to just talk about sneakers. If you follow him on Twitter, he just argues with 12-year-olds online about Yeezys. I do that shit for free. What's he getting out of this?
So I really was hoping to teach people about the business. There seemed to be a tremendous amount of misconceptions. People think that it only costs $1 to make a pair of Jordans, and they're made by 10-year-old children in sweatshops. And
how old are the kids in the sweatshops?
There are no sweatshops.
Okay. Come on, Matt. We know who's making those shoes. By the way, I know what you're thinking. I was thinking the same thing. There is no way this theater usher can be the world's leading sneaker expert. So I gave him the lightning round. If you really are the guru, I want you to tell me right here, right now, how many WC3 1988s did they make?
About 350,000 pairs.
How many Bread 1s 2016 where they fucked up the red and black?
Probably around 150,000.
2012 Bread 11s that I paid $300 extra for?
100,000 pairs. Don't hold me to these numbers.
Oh, I'm holding you to it.
I have to look them up.
You can't fake news me right now. I'm coming for the king.
Okay.
Bread 1, 2012 or 2013 release where they got the red ink right.
Yep.
How many?
100,000.
Okay, respect. Larry Bud Sneakerman knows his shit. And according to Matt Powell, the same scarcity principle that applies to the Air Jordans I grew up with as a kid applies to Supreme.
The model is the same, reselling sneakers, reselling streetwear. It's about scarcity, it's about supply and demand. People want things that other people can't get, and they're willing to pay more money for that. Again, if everybody can get one, nobody wants one.
Right.
You want to have a high level of rejection rate.
So by keeping things scarce, they're like a small private college versus a huge public school.
Correct.
Supreme is the Harvard of streetwear?
Probably, Harvard would be probably appropriate.
So that's why so many Indian fuckboys wear Supreme.
It could be.
Wait, hold on. He knew all that shit about Jordans, and he also knew what fuckboys are? He really is about that culture, baby. Now, look, what Powell is saying is that when it comes to brands like Supreme, and I've seen this with Jordans, when you increase the supply, it decreases the demand, and you end up with what economists call a Joe Biden hug. There's so much of it, and nobody wants it anymore. It's like, oh, hey, how are you, Joe? Good to see you. Okay, you're squeezing me? Hey, why don't you do that? Why don't you let go of me? Can you let go of me, please? Not right here. No, that's your phone, Joe. Joe, that's your phone. That's Jill. Your wife, remember? Your wife, Jill. Please don't do this. Can you please let me go? I'm trying to breathe. Joe, please, don't put it on my lower back. Now, what Supreme is doing, it's the opposite of the Joe Biden hug. It's limiting supply and increasing demand. Look, I know there are people here that are shaking their heads, like, this is insane. I'm a parent, and every parent is like, $936 for a gray hoodie? This is the most stressful episode yet. This is worse than Saudi Arabia or climate change. But none of this is new. Demand for expensive, useless shit goes way back. There's actually a term for it. It's called conspicuous consumption. It was coined back in 1899 by this man, Thorsten Veblen, the OG hypebeast. Yeah, hypebeast.com and Hi Snabidi. You're sprung off of Travis Scott, Virgil, and rappers wearing gray sweatpants. Nobody's talking about my man, Thorsten motherfucking Veblen. Conspicuous consumption is when a person shows off by buying things other people can't afford. What did that look like in 1899? Like, I'm imagining like a pocket watch, a monocle, a top hat, and a cane. Pretty much Mr. Peanut. Mr. Peanut was the Kanye West of 1899. People are like, oh shit, look at the drip. And he's like, what's up, man? Conspicuous consumption leads to something that economists call Veblen goods. Usually, as a price for a good goes up, demand goes down. But for Veblen goods, as price goes up, demand also goes up. This whole area right here, that's hype. And Veblen goods are still around today. Patek Philippe watches, Gucci Marmont bags, Cristal, and now Supreme. And this is the Antoine Walker story. I do my jokes for 4 people at a time. And the internet, Google it. Also Google Gandhi, South Africa. Hey, that's why I love this show, you know what I mean? I love that shit. I did a nerdy side character comment on Letterman. Ted started laughing, and I'm like, nobody else. Then, when I talk about the drip, you guys are like, I know what that is. And then people are like, Gandhi's racist? Now that's a taste cluster. If Supreme is going to keep using scarcity to fuel hype, the biggest threat to its brand might have to do with this.
They have confirmed that Carlyle has made an investment. We don't know the exact amount, but it's somewhere between $500 and $600 million. So the valuation is around $1 billion for Supreme.
The Carlyle Group now owns roughly half of Supreme. The Carlyle Group is something you've heard of, but you have no idea what it is. It's like Ray Donovan. What is Ray Donovan? Who is Ray Donovan? Is he a closer who handles things by fixing them? Or is he a fixer who closes things by handling them? I don't know. I've only seen the billboards. The Carlyle Group is a giant corporation that manages $212 billion worth of assets. It basically buys and flips other companies for profit. They are the ultimate reseller, and they poured $500 million into Supreme. Just listen to one of the founders of the Carlyle Group. His name is David Rubenstein. Explain what they do. Okay, now keep in mind, he could have explained it normally, but he chose the medium of freestyle rap.
Takes a lot of brains to do what we do. Looking for a way to make some dough for you. Energy, commodity, we do it all. So pick up the phone and give us a call. Corporate mezzanine, private equity, Carlyle Group is the place to be.
I feel like every time I watch that clip, Tupac gets shot again. But when A$AP Rube says Carlyle does it all, he means it. They've invested in more than 200 companies, Hertz, AMC Theaters, Getty Images, McDonald's, Dr. Pepper, and Mrs. Fields. They've also invested in oil drilling, coal mining, military contracting, you know, wholesome stuff. Movies, cookies, war, fun. Carlyle owns 23%, so they're the largest shareholder of a company called Wesco, which has a long-term contract with BAE Systems. It's not BAE. It's a British defense company. Together, Wesco and BAE support a fighter jet called the Typhoon, which is used by the Saudis to bomb Yemen. This is a company that profits off of war and obesity. Why are they trying to sell Supreme fanny packs to dudes with man buns?
The only reason investment banking gets involved in any company is that they think they can get a multiple back on their investment in a very short period of time. I think Carlyle will try to grow this business very quickly, much more quickly than it has been growing, in order to reach the valuation that they've established for it. And I think that amount of product going into the market really can cause this brand to collapse.
We've all seen what happens when you flood the market. Kind of like political comedy shows. Do we need another one? They're all the same, but I'm the brown one, okay? That's why you have to watch. Real talk. I appreciate the support. Thank you. Look at the triple white Yeezys. They were a limited run. Then it came out that they were going to make 1 million pairs. The resale price tanked. And now they sell around retail and no one cares about them. What do you think is gonna happen if Carlisle floods the market with Supreme? You think people would want off-white ones if there were 1 million pairs of them? No. Everyone's gonna be like, wow, these are objectively ugly as fuck. They're going to close their tents, go home, and write YouTube comments. Fans are fickle and hype is fragile. But hype has to have value, right?
Hype is, in and of itself, is meaningless. Okay, you can't take hype to the bank.
I completely disagree. If I wore a Supreme white hoodie box tee to Wells Fargo, best believe that teller would be like, hey, will you sell that to me?
I don't think so. I think.
Have you been to Wells Fargo?
Yes, sir.
Every time I go into a Wells Fargo, there's like a 25-year-old dude in braces who's like, hey, what's up, man? I really loved you in the Big Sick.
Sorry.
You think Supreme very well could collapse. What do you say to those kids that are lining up right now on Lafayette Street while it's raining outside?
Well, I think they'll be lining up for something else. They'll find something else that is equally attractive to them.
Hype has a shelf life. Look, if I'm talking about Supreme, you know that shit is over. It's the beginning of the end. And when John Oliver does it better in 2 weeks, then it's really over, okay? You'll be like, welcome, welcome, welcome. Supreme. Supreme's cachet tanks immediately. People buy Supreme to stunt. Just like when I tried to get my hands on Jordan 11s in high school, I did it to stunt. This Christmas, Nike is expected to release 1 million Jordan 11s, the very shoe I saw a dude get robbed for because they were limited. But if everyone has them, then I don't want them anymore. And without objects that make me stand out, what am I? Then I just have to be myself, and that's terrifying. Because I'm insecure and I need things to make me feel better about myself. Now, unless Carlisle can maintain the hype and flip Supreme fast, it might be the only reseller that doesn't make its money back on Supreme. But don't feel bad for the Carlisle Group. They manage hundreds of billions of dollars, and they're war profiteers. They'll be okay. Now, you know what's weird? Supreme usually screams out their collabs. Nike, Champion, Lacoste, Timberland. And here, they are collabing with one of the biggest investment firms in the world, the Carlisle Group, and they're being shy about it. Why? If you're kicking it with people who are linked to bombing Yemen, flex that shit, bro. So we decided we should flex it for them. We are doing our own limited drop to spread the word about Supreme and their fire collab with Carlisle. If you go to this website, www.thecarlislesupremium.com, this is real, we have an online store where you can buy your very own Carlisle Supreme shirt. It's a very limited drop, so get them while you can. Our shirts say cool things like defense contractor, oil and gas, private equity, corporation, and most importantly, Barbara Kruger was right.